We finally cracked the code for Xbox's future. What's up, guys? I'm Ray, and this is my channel, Xbox Ready, where I talk Xbox stuff. I feel like I have to say that every time because inevitably someone comes into the comments and is like, Xbox sucks. I hate Xbox. I like PlayStation better. And I'm like, why? Why did you click on this video? Anyway, there's been a lot of talk about the future of Xbox, what direction they're going to head in as a company, as a platform holder. They've been raising a lot of eyebrows over the past couple of months, starting with their decision to be like, yeah, we're going to take our games and put them on other consoles. Everyone was like, what? But then they were like, don't you worry, guys, we're not going anywhere. Xbox consoles are still going to be a thing. In fact, we're going to reveal the next generation of hardware that we got cooking at the end of this year. And since then, speculation has abounded, especially from channels like me. I talk a lot about what Xbox is currently doing. I talk about what they did in the past, but I also like to look forward, look ahead as a fan to what they have prepared for us in 4, 5, 6, 10 years. And I'm not alone. It's on a lot of people's minds. A couple of weeks ago, I did a video where I was like, based off of what certain moves that Xbox is doing, certain projects that Microsoft is working on, I got together with Jimmy and we were talking and we were like, dude, it's looking like the next generation of Xbox, or the next step for them, is to get these consoles closer to like being mini PCs. Microsoft is really excited about Windows on ARM and the emulation especially. So I did a video about it where I discussed it all and I was like, yeah, the next Xboxes are going to be like little PCs. But I couldn't go up with it right away. I had to wait a little bit because it was a sponsored video. It was supposed to be like, ooh, hot take from Ray. All right, let's go. But in the time it took for like the video to be approved by the sponsor, it turned out not to be such a hot take because Windows Central came out and pretty much said everything that I was saying, plus more, and they made it sound a lot smarter. And then today I woke up to an article from The Verge written by none other than Tom Warren, simply titled, "The Future of the Xbox Looks a Lot Like PC." And he starts off the article reminiscing about when he reviewed the Xbox Series X back in 2020. He admitted that it reminded him of a little PC, especially the chassis and all that. And I totally agree with that take. In fact, years ago at this point, when the channel just got started, I did a video where I was using my Xbox Series X as a mini PC, using it to answer emails, kind of browse the web, stream games on it from other platforms like Google Stadia, which was still a thing. My Series S has dev mode on it, which allows me to load up other emulators for older games. And that kind of aspect is something I always thought was cool, like this kind of sort of PC light thing that the Xbox consoles got going on. And now it's not just me, like a mid-range YouTuber, taking notice. Now the major players, like I mentioned, Windows Central and now The Verge, are theorizing that next generation, these things are going to be less consoles and more like PCs. There are a couple of reasons why. Number one, Phil Spencer has expressed interest in putting other storefronts on Xbox. And number two, Sarah Bond has announced that Xbox has established their own dedicated team for game preservation. They're going to make sure that Xbox games that are available today are available well into the future. And I feel like a good way to do that, and Tom Warren touches on it in this article as well, is to cut down on the different versions of Xbox games. And right now, whenever Xbox first party releases a game, there are 3 versions: the PC version, the Series X version, and the Series S. A few months back, I went to the gameplay preview for Forza Motorsport at the Peterson Automotive Museum, and I got to sit down with Chris Isaki, the game's director, and one of my first questions that I had for him was, what was your experience like optimizing what is supposed to be a graphically intensive, beautiful game for not only Xbox, but also for PC and also the Series S? And he was like, man, it was crazy. It was really like a lot of work. He seemed very stressed out about it. And I'm sure that developers everywhere feel the same way, especially for these multi-platform games. They're like, what do you mean I have to make a PlayStation version, 2 Xbox versions, and a PC one? In a world where Xbox consoles are more like PCs, Microsoft has the opportunity to make a lot of lives easier by just saying, you know what, we're going to have one version of the game. It's going to be the PC version that you can play on PC and these new look consoles. And like I mentioned in my video, like Tom Warren mentions in this article, that would go a long way in making sure that these games are preserved, because no longer are they tied to specific hardware. This would also play a huge role in making sure that they don't have to mess around with a different version of the game for this rumored Xbox handheld that they're working on. They already have the blueprint. We know that there is a market for handheld gaming PCs because Steam and the Steam Deck, they've done just that, and to a lesser extent, the ROG Ally. And And when you download a game on Steam, it is not a different version than what you would download on the desktop version of Steam. It's the same. And now a lot of people might be looking at that like, well, if you just want a mini Xbox PC thing, why don't you just buy a PC? And right under unifying the games, no longer having separate versions of games for console and PC, right behind that in terms of priority would be making these mini Xbox PCs affordable. That is the biggest advantage that consoles have over PC. Because let's be real, a good PC, like top-end rig, is going to put you back a lot of money. And then you'll have to go through the frustration of like some games coming out poorly optimized that don't even run well on your like $1,500 rig. They can make all the promises they want with, the biggest technical leap in a generation. Oh, you'll be able to download Steam games on this new Xbox. Oh, there's going to be a handheld. But it won't matter if it's not affordable. Either way, I'm pretty excited to find out more. I hope we get more details. Like Sarah Bond said, at the end of this year. I think an Xbox handheld sounds dope. Phil Spencer apparently agrees because he's been talking nonstop about it. I think an open-ended console mini PC sounds dope. They should focus on making the Xbox handheld, the next-gen Xbox with the biggest, craziest technical leap in a generation, and they should probably also focus on making more TV shows. I watched the entire Fallout TV series on Amazon Prime last weekend, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed it. In a world where there are a bunch of people trying to adapt video games and anime and cartoons into live action, and where a lot of those shows are absolute trash, Fallout did the impossible and made a really good show based on an existing video game IP. Not to say that there aren't good video game shows out there. Cyberpunk Edgerunner, shout out to y'all. Castlevania, I would also put up there as well. But live action in particular seems to be super, super hard to make a quality project. And Fallout did something where a lot of other adaptations just absolutely suck and fail at. They handled the exposition really, really well. They did not waste time. They didn't have to stop and explain every little detail about the world of Fallout. You have a character who is part of the Brotherhood of Steel, but there was never a point where he stopped and was like, yeah, when I was a kid, my home, my town was blown up, and then someone in power armor came to save me, and from then on, I was so grateful. I wanted to be a knight of the Brotherhood of Steel. No. They don't mess around with dialogue for exposition. They show you a flashback of young Maximus coming out of a fridge. Everything's blown up. Power armor comes into frame. He looks up. He's like, whoa, that's so cool. Boom. You know everything that you need to know in order to just go on and enjoy the show. And I know that because I played some Fallout games. I'm not the biggest Fallout guy fan ever, but there was enough in there for me to be like, oh, that's just like from the games. Oh, the Pip-Boy, just like the games. Radiation King, just like the games. The ending line, war never changes. There was enough stuff as someone who has played some Fallout games to be like, oh, that's cool that they referenced that. But I also watched it with my wife, who has never played a Fallout game, and she was able to enjoy it just as well. And she got all of the rules. She's like, okay, Pip-Boy, it makes a little noise anytime a person's close to radiation. Got it. No one had to sit there and explain, just so you know, when you're out in the wasteland, you got to be careful for radiation, and your Pip-Boy will alert you to that by making a little crackling noise. No. I thought the performances were absolutely fucking awesome. Walter Goggins as the Ghoul absolutely bodied it. He stole the scene every time he was on screen. I was interested in each storyline, Lucy's, Maximus, the Ghoul, and at the end they were tied together very, very well. The show also wasn't afraid of humor. There's a lot of silliness, but at the same time, they didn't take it too far. They kept saying, the wasteland is a scary place filled with messed up people, and they held to that pretty well. I see some people are mad and upset because, yes, they did mess with the lore a little bit. They did mess with the timeline a little bit. But where other shows do that and fail, like The Witcher, like Rings of Power, like Halo, the Fallout TV show took a risk with kind of changing things up a little bit, but I think it paid off ultimately. It was still very enjoyable and still had the spirit of the games. Ultimately, I think it tied in really nicely, and I feel like a lot of people agree with me because it's getting high critical reviews. A lot of people are watching it, binging through it. It seems to be very, very successful, and that success is not contained just with the show. Because the show is so good, all sorts of people, and me included, are like, I want to play the games. I need more of this stuff. Fallout 76 hit an all-time player count record on Steam following the release of the TV series on Amazon. Fallout 4 sales are soaring to #1 in Europe following the TV show debut, which is crazy because not too long ago we were hearing stuff about like, oh, European markets, they're dropping Xbox games entirely because they don't sell very well. And yeah, that's probably still a thing. Over in Europe, they're probably buying the PlayStation version of Fallout 4 over Xbox, but still, if you're Xbox, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what version of the game you buy because they own Bethesda. And this is exactly what happened when Cyberpunk Edge Runners came out on Netflix. A bunch of people binged through that. They were like, whoa, that was fucking awesome. I want to go play Cyberpunk. But here's the thing. The show has got to be good. We got a Halo TV show, and it's not really my thing. If you like it, that's cool, but it's not really my thing. And it certainly didn't drive a bunch of people to go play Halo, whether Halo Infinite or the Master Chief Collection. Did not happen. Which makes me wonder, is this part of Xbox's future as well? More television adaptations of their existing first-party content. We know that there's a Gears of War movie in the works, or current trying to be in the works. I don't know. David Bautista was like, I really want to play Marcus Phoenix. A couple of years back, I interviewed Richard Horvitz, who is the voice actor for Raz and Psychonauts, and he was like, yeah, I want to do an animated series. Like, there's so much stuff we can do. Is that something Xbox should explore? TV and movie adaptations of their games that eventually drive traffic to the games. And as much as I want to say yes, at the same time, I'm like, ugh. I mean, it's really hard to make a good TV show and a good movie, right? So many people go in with the best intentions, and then the end product is like, maybe you should have not done this. But it's certainly something that Sony has been messing around with. They got an Uncharted movie, obviously Spider-Man. They also got the freaking Gran Turismo movie, The Last of Us. So in addition to Xbox's gaming efforts, maybe it's time for them to consider breaking into other forms of entertainment like film and television. Now, if you're sitting there and you're like, Ray, should I jump into Fallout 76 too? Or like, is it worth it even to jump in? I can't really answer that question for you because I haven't really played Fallout 76. I started with my buddy Eldon, and he was like, I can't get into this right now. It's too overwhelming. I can't get into a game like this. And so I haven't jumped on since. But my good friend Jimmy Champagne, who runs PS Ready, the sister channel to Xbox Ready, he's big into Fallout 76. At one point, he was like, yeah, I've literally done everything several times over. I played the crap out of that game, and I booted it up, and I was amazed about how much it has changed, how much they has added, and he's going to tell you more about it right now.
How's it going, Xbox Ready audience, whatever you want to call it? What's up, brother? My name is Jimmy. I run PS Ready, the channel that's like the opposite of this. And the reason I'm here today is because Ray wanted me to tell you about one of my favorite games of all time, Fallout 76. So I bought this game at launch. It was a complete mess. It was virtually unplayable. But then around the first year after it came out, they sort of like updated it to make the main quest finishable. And there was like things to do in the end game. I did that with my friends back in like 2019. Then they introduced the Wastelanders expansion, which had a really good story, and it actually added NPCs into the game that you could talk to with the New Vegas style of dialogue, which was great. And once I finished that, I had done everything the game had to offer, so I took a like 3 or 4 year break, and I just went back this week because of the Fallout show, and this game is so much better than the last time I played it. Literally every issue I had was addressed. There's tons of events all over the map at any given time. There's actually people in the game to play them with as well. They have daily missions, which are like a dungeon that drops a bunch of legendaries and a bunch of legendary currency. No matter what gun you're using, if you kill something with that gun, you will get ammo back alongside stim packs. So that was the old biggest grind in the game, was ammo and stim packs. That is now eliminated. The expedition system is cool. The pit one is okay, but the Atlantic City stuff is really fun, and they just added the ability to just full out explore Atlantic City as if it's a new map for the game, and it's a really cool map. It's not made by Bethesda, I'm pretty sure. It's made by Double 11 Studios, who used to make PlayStation games, and now they're just working on Fallout 76. They did a great job writing some really good Fallout style characters and making a really cool map that's in a new place we haven't seen before in the Fallout game universe. And I've just found found so many legendaries. There's legendary power armor now. There's new legendary perks. You can actually like make a gun a legendary. If you get the module that has that legendary perk, you can just add it to the gun through crafting. The online system works. There used to be this issue where you would shoot your gun and then there'd be a 1 second delay before the bullet came out and actually hit the target. That is eliminated. There's not really any connection issues anymore. And on my PC, it runs at a solid 60 FPS, just totally locked, and it never did that before. I think the game's on sale for like $8 right now. If you've never tried it and you're a Fallout 4 fan, I think you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of this game's main campaign. It starts a little slow because it's just teaching you the ropes, but when the actual plot kicks off, it ended up being one of my favorite Bethesda Fallout stories ever. So I think it's definitely worth trying. And if you have an Xbox, which I'm assuming you do if you watch this channel, it's on Game Pass. So you can just download it for free, jump into the game, and there's even a free trial for Fallout First, which is great. I'm sending it back to Ray. I was just excited to talk about Fallout 76 because unironically, it is one of my favorite online games ever.
Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you made it this far into the video, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. I'm getting ready to move into a new place. I'm gonna have like a new kind of setup and studio going on. It's gonna be dope. I can't wait to share more. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.